Well, here we are with the race on a page. It is the second of the races for this season, and we're starting with a TTT on Greater London Flat. This is a race that strongly favours Thursday riders because it features quite frequently on the Thursday team time trial. So bear that in mind. So what do you have to do? It's 2 laps for all the teams, but there is that nice long lead in to the lap. Total of 29 kilometers and 105 meters of climbing. How do you score points? Well, like all the team time trials in the ZRL, it is the time measured as the 4th rider that crosses the finish line. Route strategy on this one. It is all about maintaining a formation. It's a pretty flat route. There's some slight undulations, and it's all about being effective in the formation that you choose. So don't get too aggressive in your formation and break it up. As I like to say, start by blobbing up and then stretch that blob out. And then only when you're good at stretching the blob out should you really form a pace line with called out riders, because if you break your pace line, it's very hard to pull yourself back together and pick up speed again. So better safe than sorry on this route. There are a couple of rises, the Northumberland rise and Piccadilly. On this particular route, you have to be very careful that you don't split up, because times are going to be very tight, and you can't afford even 1 second to regroup on this team time trial. So again, going up those hills, just like I said, generally for the pace line, make sure you're better safe than sorry, stay together, and then regroup super quickly when you get to the top of the rises. Let's take a look at the DS notes. So the DS notes are broken down into the lead-in and then the laps. Because it's such a long lead-in, I wanted to give that a section all to itself. So we start obviously in the pens, and I started, I believe, in the C pens. I'll just leave these here for a second, but of course the best way to consume these is download them, and there should be a link in the top right hand corner of your screen right now to go pick up the DS notes for free. If you want to support Sherpa Dave, here's what you can do. Tell your friends, like and subscribe. Download the notes, as I just told you about when we're looking at the DS notes. And if you really want to, buy Sherpa Dave a coffee. A link again up in the top right hand corner. Let's jump in and look at some target times for a ZRL team time trial on Greater London Flats. I'm not going to call out all the numbers here. I'm just going to leave them up there for a second, and you can note down your particular category and whether you're a women's team or a mixed team. Now let's just jump in and do a lap. So it's 600 meters flat out of the pens. That gives you plenty of time to get into your order. So let's see you have a nice fast start when your delay time is up. Next comes a 600 meter bump up, which will take us to or through this start finish gate, which you'll remember hasn't got anything to do with our ride, but is a nice landmark. This just averages 2%. It gets a little above that, but by now you should be in formation and just driving as fast as you can, maintaining a decent extended blob or even a pace line as you go through. Alright, and hit the brow of this hill, and we're going to now bump down for 800 meters. It does undulate a bit. There we go, see, there's that little step up. It says 6% in the mini-map, but you should be able to just plow through this one. This is a great stretch of the ride to be practicing your formation. Making sure you're communicating, calling who's on the front, who's in position 2, etc. Through the tunnels. And now we've got a bump up and a bump down that will take us all the way to Northumberland Avenue, which you will find at 3.6 kilometers into the ride. I find Northumberland, we'll talk more when we get there, I find Northumberland is always tricky for teams. If you are attentive and paying attention and communicating, you can get through it fairly easily. But if you stop focus for even a split second, somebody goes off the front, and that creates a split that just wastes valuable seconds pulling back in. We're just going to run alongside the Thames for a little while. Alright, Northumberland is after this next bridge here. And you can see it on the mini-map with that sharp right-hand turn. The trick here is how you stretch the weaker riders just enough but don't break them, and how you keep your your stronger riders in check to make sure that they don't pull away. There you go, 300 meters, an average of 4%, it gets a little higher than that, but now it is flat all the way up and down here, 1.4 kilometers. So regroup, use this time to regroup, check in with everybody on Discord, get back in formation, and get back up to speed. Just after we go through the arch, we will hit a slight descent, just minus 2% I think, but that'll allow you to pick up speed without having to put in more effort. And this descent actually keeps going through the gate, and you're around 6 kilometers or 18 kilometers of a total of 29.4 kilometers. And ahead of us there, Buckingham Palace. Those of you that live in London know that, wonder why I'm saying that. Those of you that don't live in London or don't even live in Britain, there you go, now you've done some sightseeing. Alright, as we come around that corner, we now have a false flat up for 500 meters. Again, keep power steady. It will affect your speed just slightly, but this is all about steady power delivery and effective use of taking turns on the front and recovering on the back. We'll hit this bend and then we get the reverse, a false flat down for 500 meters. There we go. Now it stays mostly flat for 800 meters till you get to 8.2 or 20 kilometers, but it does undulate a bit. As you can see, we're hitting minus 1.2, plus 1.2, but never for very long. Again, keep power delivery smooth, keep smooth turns on the front, and you'll get through that with no problem at all. This road is called Birdcage because many hundreds of years ago there were bird cages on it, but the birds have now gone. So have the cages. Slight step up again, power delivery, and now it's flat for 5 kilometers to 13.4 or 25.1 kilometers. There's Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament ahead of us. My cousin used to work there. Not sure if that's relevant, but good to know. So again, we're back running alongside the Thames. It's not completely pan flat. It does fluctuate up and down, just 1% here and there. But for the most part, for all practical purposes, just treat this as flat till we get to 13.4 on the first lap, 25.1 on the second lap. Let's have a little music. There's a little bump up coming. They're just a little false flat. Just keep your power steady. Power through it. And then we just bump back down the same amount. This is also false. So you'll just pick up a little speed. This is Sloane Square, I think. Alright, back on that little flat, just for a short while, till we hit 13.4 kilometers first lap, 25.1 second lap, and then we just step up a bit, 400 meters at 1.5 to 2%. There you go, flat now, until we get to the descent down into Piccadilly. There we go, we're on that descent now, so it starts -1, I don't think it gets above -2 or 3, but you'll be able to pick up some speed here to carry you through to the start of that Piccadilly climb. Now this is not steep by any stretch of the imagination, but when you're going at the kind of pace that you should be going at, and this route, it will wear on the weaker riders. So you can see it hits -4 there, not for long, just stretches out. And then we're going to have a very gentle or a very short flat. Right, there's the first section, short bit of flat now, and then the climb will kick back in again. And you can see where it ends on the mini-map. It's where the road takes a sharp turn. That's actually the end of this little climb. Just be aware that your weaker riders, particularly on the second lap, will be pushing really hard to get up here at pace. So first lap, you probably want to give them some time to recover as you're coming down here. There we go, make the turn now. Second lap though, you might want to make a clever decision about who's going to be able to help you for the remaining couple of kilometers and who isn't. So on lap 2, if people are gasping after that climb and you've got 4 people who are still fresh, then just put the pedal down and go for it. Either way, back in formation. There we are, 1 kilometer to the finish of the lap if it's lap 1, but of the entire race if it's lap 2. And it's all flat or downhill from here. Round the corner. You should recognize this. Been here once before. 500 meters to go. Here's the 300 meter marker. It's all downhill now. 200. 100, and you are done. Alright everybody, I'm going to leave you with the DS notes and the bike choices again, and that's it from me. I will not be riding this. I will be in Mallorca having some real world fun, so ride on. I'll see you in a few weeks.